Hi everyone, this is Dr. Okogbaa. I am the CEO and founder of Louisiana Center for Eyes, and I am happy to be here with you today. So one of the conditions that can result from chronic sun exposure due to ultraviolet rays damaging effects on the eyes is something called a pterygium. Okay, sounds like a weird word, okay, but that's a Greek word that means wing-like. And what's that all about? So I'll have individuals come in my office, and basically they're looking in the mirror and they'll see something like a white spot or some kind of spot on the eye or in the cornea, and they know, all they know, it's been growing for years or it's been there and they just don't like it, and everyone's always asking them what's going on with your eye, is something wrong with your eye, or what is that spot in your eye? And so usually that's what brings people in to see me about that. So again, what is it? So this is a fleshy looking triangular growth that tend to be on the inner part of the white part of your eye, and you can see it in the mirror. A lot of times we can't see a lot of things happening in our eye, right? But that's one of those things you can actually see. And the way it looks is like a growth, as if there's something being pulled right onto the pupil or right onto the clear part of the eye or the black part of the eye as we look at it in the mirror. And that's called a pterygium. And so that pterygium is from chronic sun damage. And so who get these? And so folks who are outdoors a lot, who work outdoors for many years, okay? If you live in the South or closer to the equator, your chances of developing these growths, okay, which is, in the growth comes from what we call the conjunctiva. There's an overgrowth or degeneration of that, and it starts to grow right on the cornea, and to the point where it can be visible to you, and it can be visible to someone else looking at your eyes. And so, but really, that's really what it is, and what it's typically more of a, initially it's more of a cosmetic thing that brings somebody in just because they're concerned, they don't know what that is, but it's been there. And so we talked about what causes it. We talked about who gets it. Now, what are some of the symptoms? Again, it's typically what we call asymptomatic. It's just there, it doesn't cause any issues. However, it can get really irritated, especially with like if you are in a dusty environment, or the wind is blowing and the eyes start to water and just feel really irritated. And it also tend to accompany dryness, where the eye can get burning, itching, all of those situations, and redness. And so those are some of the symptoms. Now, as it grows, it can actually impact the vision to the point where it's growing so much that it's growing towards the pupil, and it can induce what we call astigmatism because it's pulling on the cornea, which means it could change your glasses prescription and cause blurry vision. And so, yeah, so when it's to that stage, or it can just grow so much that you can literally see something, like it's in your, what we call your visual axes. So it's right there in your vision. And so, so we'll talk about when it gets to these stages, what are some of the things we can do to protect our eyes from from developing pterygiums, and two, when it does develop, what can we do about it? And so again, that's when we talk about just eye protection. Very important to have UVA, UVB sunglasses, especially if you're if you're outdoors a lot, either for work or entertainment. Okay, very important to wear sunglasses to protect your eyes and make sure that those sunglasses have UV protection in them, and that helps a lot. Now, if you have already developed something like that in the early stages, it's typically asymptomatic. It doesn't cause any symptom. It's just there. It just doesn't look good to some people. Okay. And so what you want to do really, just to keep the eye comfortable, you want to, again, wear sun protection, eyewear protection. You want to keep your eyes lubricated. Now, when it gets to the point where it's impacting the vision or it's in the field of vision, then we actually have some surgical options that comes up. And those surgical option is basically where we can go in and actually peel off this fleshy growth looking thing off of the cornea of the eye. So there's a surgical option to be able to do that for you. Or if it's so big and for cosmetic purposes, you want to take it off of the eye, that's also an option. So we talked about protecting the eye, keeping the eye lubricated, and then surgical option as one of the options as well to treat, to prevent this condition called pterygium. Okay, so I hope you found this video helpful. If you know anyone who may find this information helpful, please share this video. I would appreciate it. And if you have any topics that you'd like me to discuss, please leave it in the comments. And if you have not had an eye exam this year, or you live in the Baton Rouge, Louisiana area, give us a call. I'd be happy to work with you and see what's going on with your eyes and help you achieve and maintain your vision. Thank you so much for joining in. Take care. Bye-bye.